Now, when we talk about the band that we're going to talk about in this episode, you could be forgiven for thinking that they were British because they did hit right in the early 60s, right in the period of the British invasion. But in fact, it's an American band. They were formed in 1964 in San Francisco, and they were discovered by the legendary radio DJ Tom Donahue, who got them a recording contract. The name of the band? The Beau Brummels. So are you ready to laugh just a little bit? All right, let's drop the needle. The group wanted to cash in on Beatlemania, and so they picked the name Beau Brummels. But who was Beau Brummel? He was a real person. His real name was George Brian Beau Brummel, and he became known as a dandy, a person who spends an inordinate amount of time on the way they appear. So for a fledgling band out of San Francisco, the name Beau Brummel seemed like a good fit. The original lineup included Sal Valentino on lead vocals, Ron Elliott lead guitar, Ron Meager on bass guitar, Declan Mulligan on rhythm guitar, bass, and harmonica, and John Peterson on drums. And they actually encouraged this idea that maybe they were British when they all started combing their hair forward and wearing sort of like Beatle-like suits. In 1965, the band had a hit with their first single, Laugh, Laugh, which rose to number 15. Just 5 months later, the band releases their second single, Just a Little, and it climbs to number 5, making it the highest charting record that the band has ever recorded. Naturally, an album follows, and it's called Introducing the Beau Brummels, and most of the songs are written by one of the band members, Ron Elliott. Besides the two hits, Laugh, Laugh, and Just a Little Bit, other titles are Just Wait and See and Not Too Long Ago. The album hit number 24 on the charts. In 1965, they released their second album, The Beau Brummels Volume 2, but by this time they've lost one of their band members. Declan Mulligan has left the band, so now they're just a quartet. And again, most of the songs are written by Ron Elliott. The album contains the hits You Tell Me Why and Don't Talk to Strangers. Now, You Tell Me Why was their last top 40 hit. Other songs are I Want You, Sad Little Girl, and In Good Time. But the album failed to chart. But by the end of the year, Ron Elliott, who suffers from diabetes, decides that he can no longer tour, so he's replaced on guitar by Don Irving. Sadly, I can find no pictures of Don Irving. Sorry. Now, the little record company that Tom Donahue had signed them up with for the recording contract, that little company got bought out by Warner Brothers. But there was a little problem. Warner Brothers did not own the song publishing rights to any songs that the band would record that they had written. So Warner Brothers decides that for their next album, it's going to be just an album of covers. The album contains a take of the Beatles' You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, Bob Dylan's song, Mr. Tambourine Man, the always popular Louie Louie, Hang On Sloopy, and Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter. As you can tell, it's kind of a weird mix, and as a result, the record did not sell. After the album is released, Don Irving gets drafted, and then John Peterson, the drummer, leaves the band to go join Harper's Bazaar. This makes the Beau Brummels now a trio, with Sal Valentino, Ron Elliott, and Ron Meager remaining. They decide to release an album called Triangle. Triangle is a psychedelic album, and it's the first time that Ron Elliott and Sal Valentino write songs together. The album contains a single, Magic Hollow, which didn't chart, and frankly, a lot of songs on the album are really inspired by the writings of Tolkien and The Lord of the Rings. Some of those titles are Only Dreaming Now, The Keeper of Time, and The Wolf of Velvet Fortune. The album didn't sell very well. In fact, it could only reach 197 on the charts. After this album, Mayer gets drafted, which now leaves just the duo of Ron Elliott and Sal Valentino. They decide for their next album they're going to go to Nashville and record it with session musicians. And that album is called Bradley's Barn. The album was a critical success and is often referred to as an example of early country rock. Song titles include Turn Around, the singles Long Walking Down to Misery and Cherokee Girl. And they even covered Randy Newman's Bless You, California. But shortly after the release of Bradley's Barn, the Beau Brummels broke up. But then 6 years later, in 1974, they decided to regroup and release a live album. And then they do a studio album, which is called the Beau Brummels. But after it's released, they break up again. Then in the year 2013, the original members of the Beau Brummels get back together to record an album called Continuum. But it doesn't sell. Now, as usual, I've created a Spotify playlist, and I'll put the link here and also down in the comments, where you can go and listen to some of the music of the Beau Brummels that I talk about in this episode. For a band that started out trying to mimic the Beatles, the Beau Brummels created their own style, and they existed for 47 years, over which point they recorded 7 albums. But for me, when I think of the Beau Brummels, I always think of their first single, Laugh, Laugh. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep a rockin'. If you like this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out.